Hello Sagittarius, Sagittarius Rising, and Sagittarius Moon people. This is your monthly astrological horoscope for June 2017. And a quick reminder for y'all out there, if you are curious as to why astrologers always talk about the rising sign and why it is relevant, you do need to check out the video I have on the main channel page. It's a featured video. It's at the very, very top. You can just go to the home page on this channel and you will actually be able to see it. Of course, I also got a special announcement for everyone here. I will actually be appearing on Nadiya Shah's channel, and y'all know who Nadiya Shah is. She's a fabulous astrologer, on June 10th. Alright, this is Saturday, June 10th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, US and Canada. We're going to be talking all about astrology, tarot, and spirituality, and all kinds of fun stuff. And of course, if you ever want to get a session with me, you do need to go to my website, integrativemysticism.com. So what is going on with the month of June for the Sagittarius people? Well, when it comes to June, we are kind of starting, we're getting a bit of that flow going, every couple of months, where all the planets, a lot of planets start to group up a little bit. And it's all going to be happening towards the end of the month, but it starts off with Mars. Planet of action, energy, conviction, and all of that good stuff moving into the sign of Cancer, into your 8th house of shared resources, passive income, and passion, sensuality, and all of those kinds of things. And he's lending his passion and his strength and his fervor to all these areas of your life. Mars in the 8th house can be a wonderful boon for those of you who are self-employed or those of you who are trying to maybe actually increase the yield of some kind of big personal finance venture you are on, joint finance venture you're on. This can be wonderful news for a lot of you who are also maybe watching, anticipating maybe the financial shift for a spouse or a partner, or even somebody you are sharing resources with. You may be watching investments start to increase in their value. Or you may be even noticing that, again, a personal business, whether it's a side thing or a full-on self-employment enterprise, is starting to actually generate a lot of revenue in June and all the way up until the 3rd week of July. This can also be a wonderful time for involving, ourselves in a little bit more of the carnal when it comes to love and romance, especially when it comes to enjoying physical opportunities. I won't get a little too specific on that, but I think you know where I'm going. Mars in the 8th house can, however, come with a bit of a warning, okay? We have a tendency with Mars in the 8th house to expend as much as we make, or, spend as much as we do acquire. So it's very important to, know that it could be ill-advised to get into that mindset of money on a loop, or resources on a loop during this time. Sometimes we think, oh, well, guess what? I'll be able to make a lot of money really quickly, so I should spend and reinvest it. No, save it, okay? It's a time to get ahead, not reinvest, not while Mars is in the 8th. On the 6th of the month, we've got Venus, planet of love, harmony, passion and pleasure. Well, not passion, but let's just say pleasure and some passion. I will throw it in there. Moving into Taurus, into your 6th house of work, reputation, and your physical health. And this is a wonderful time for any of you out there who have been trying to do some work on your physical body, your physical health, especially as it may relate to your looks. Maybe you're thinking about getting back in shape, losing weight, putting weight on, getting more toned, working on actually changing the way you present yourself, trying on a new look, a new style. Shifts in your appearance, even in a less literal sense, are actually benefited during this time. If you're trying a new image to change your reputation at work, change your reputation in your industry, if you're trying to find a way to get some easy money by altering your schedule, Venus will be giving you that boost and that boon all throughout this month from the 6th on. We've also got Mercury, planet of communications, haste, speed, and news, moving into your 7th house, Gemini, on this very same day, where he will be up until the 21st. And remember, wherever Mercury goes, he tends to speed things up, really, really quickly in terms of progress for you and whatever house it's in. Now, it's going to be in your 7th house, closest one-on-one relationships. That's our boyfriend, girlfriend, BFF, business partner. Alright, when we talk about roommates, all the people we spend our closest one-on-one time with. And there may actually be something that a lot of you Gemini people have been trying to get underway with a partner that has been constantly delayed. Okay, constantly slowed down, it's had to wait, it's been put on the maybe pile, Or maybe it's something that you guys have been saving up for, trying to get taken care of, but it just doesn't seem to come fast enough, or we never seem to get enough of the requirements fulfilled in order for it to come into being. So what's happening is that Mercury is going to make up for that lost time. In fact, this may expedite a big dream plan that you have with a partner, whether it's, you know, becoming official, moving, traveling, joining forces financially. What are we trying to get off the ground that has not been able to get off the ground? A nice 15-day window period is opening up with Mercury in this part of your chart from the 6th through the 21st. On the 9th of the month, we've got two other aspects happening at the same time. They're all coming in pairs, it seems. And we've got a full moon in your sign. And what full moons do is they create endings and culminations. And when we have a full moon in our sign, it's our once-a-year opportunity to punctuate and end something and anything that we want to end. You know, and we want to see what we want to get rid of. What are we trying to clear? What are we trying to get rid of in our life that no longer works for us? If we're looking for an opportunity to leave a connection we don't want to have, if we're trying to get out of a situation or quit a bad habit that we know is holding us back, you know, if you're trying to maybe leave a friendship that has sort of worn out its welcome, you know, and we're letting that go, we're saying goodbye to that situation, this may be the full moon that allows for that to happen or forces that to come to a head. And that may happen most likely sometime in the early parts of the 2-week window, but between the 9th and the 23rd. We also have Jupiter turning direct in your house of friendships and social networking. And this is going to be lovely because this is going to stay direct here all the way up until October. You know, and from January until possibly, yeah, about now, a lot of you Sagittarius people may have been feeling like your circle of friends has kind of, you haven't noticed a lot of, I guess you'd say, opportunities to mix and mingle and grow. You know, sometimes Jupiter retrograde can kind of cause friendships to stagnate. Things become too routine. Things start to become a little bit boring. You know, people aren't as, don't seem as invested. They don't seem to be trying as hard. You know, and what can happen is sometimes we start to feel a bit of drift. Now, that lesson with Jupiter retrograde is to try and make the most out of what's in the backyard. You know, try and, you know, find a hidden treasure in something that's already happening in the routine, but that can still be a pain. Well, with Jupiter going direct, we actually have an expansion. You know, people are suddenly more interested in diversity. People are much more interested in shaking things out. People more interested in the, you know, social, spiritual, artistic stimulation that keeps, you know, growth in friendships fresh. You may even find yourself attracting new people to your social circle to shake those things up, and they will be consistently coming in and introducing themselves into your space, I think, throughout the duration of Jupiter's time in Libra up through October. On the 16th of the month, we've got Neptune moving retrograde in Pisces, in your 4th house of home and family. And this is a really long transit. Okay, you thought Jupiter retrograde was long. That was a dryer. You thought Jupiter retrograde was long. Well, Neptune is going to be retrograde all the way up until November. Okay, and it's going to feel a bit longer because Neptune retrograde is an interesting one. It's not bad. But what happens is we see things getting revealed. We see truths that maybe we didn't see, maybe truths that we were trying to ignore. You know, they're kind of put in our face to be assessed, even though we may not want to. Okay? And what's going to happen is, Sagittarius, for a lot of you, is that this Neptune retrograde is going to be revealing a lot of secrets about family situations that maybe a lot of people have swept under the rug. You know, I always say when it comes to Neptune retrograde, people take the rose-colored glasses off, the tunnel vision goggles off, and they put on the X-ray specs. Okay? And we're going to be able to see through certain things, maybe some stories that need to come out, emotions that need to be shared, people opening up and finally being honest and taking responsibility. Yes, that is the good side of this. You know, all in the interest of healing and getting on the same page. However, again, it's going to require everyone to be a lot more vulnerable and a lot more vocal and a lot less fearful of potential controversy for that to happen. And some people don't feel they're emotionally available for that kind of task, but you have 5 months, and it will be for the best if you can actually keep yourself in the present moment with that, and actually work constructively with this energy, because I think that, when it comes to handling things like relatives, your children, things along those lines, it's important these things come out for the sake of closeness. On the 21st of the month, we do have the Sun moving into Cancer, into your 8th house, again, shared resources, passive income, and we've got Mercury moving in there as well. And all of a sudden things are speeding up, starting to grow really, really quickly for you in this area and in this avenue. And we've also got a new moon on the 23rd following, and this is where they all start to group up. And suddenly a new income avenue that you can have on the side, outside of your salary or hourly income, is going to be made available to you in the last week of this month, or sometime possibly within the first 2 weeks of July. With Mercury in this area, it's going to be developing quite quickly with, fast gratification. We might be noticing some incentives, some quick financial gain coming through this. And the Sun in this area could even bring a new financial opportunity, again, for a partner that suddenly actually benefits everyone almost all right away. The Sun in this area can talk about also getting finances healed and repaired and cleared if you've got issues that you want to get rid of, or things off a credit report, or you're trying to maybe even negotiate ways to maybe negotiate down the purchase of a home or a car, or you're trying to maybe settle some kind of financial issues where people may owe you money, or some kind of exchange that needs to be shifted. During this time, especially up until about the 21st of July, we have an opportunity to repair all these things and get everyone their fair share and due. And a lot of that will also be a discussion, during this period with the Sun there and that new moon. So I hope you found this helpful, Sagittarius. It actually looks like a really, really nice month for a lot of you. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate it. And of course, if you ever want to get a session, you can always follow the links below, or go to integrativemysticism.com.